They thought they owned my land. They arrived with embossed letters and a sense of entitlement, demanding we lock ourselves in our own home for their so-called VIPs. We weren't part of their HOA, never had been, and never would be. What started as a bizarre request turned into a standoff, and I wasn't about to let anyone bully me on my land. My name's Tom Grayson, and I live on a quiet 5-acre plot just outside the manicured edges of Willow Creek Estates, a gated community in suburban Ohio. My wife, Ellen, and I chose this land for its independent shared utilities, no neighborhood rules. We've got our well, solar panels, and a gravel road that's ours alone. The only thing we share with Willow Creek is a fence line and the occasional whiff of their overpriced lawn fertilizer. At 52, I've seen enough to know when someone's trying to pull a fast one, and that's exactly what this was. It started on a crisp October afternoon. I was tightening the last bolts on a new chicken coop when Ellen stepped onto the porch, holding a fancy envelope like it was a tax bill. "Tom, you need to see this nonsense," she called, her voice half amused, half annoyed. The envelope was heavy, with gold foil edges and a pretentious seal, Willow Creek Estates Premier Council. My name and address were printed in ornate font, which was funny because we're not in Willow Creek. Our land's outside their jurisdiction, a fact I triple-checked when we bought the place 10 years ago. Inside was a letter on thick cardstock, dripping with self-important language. I read it aloud, my eyebrows climbing higher with every word. "To all residents in proximity to Willow Creek Estates, due to the arrival of distinguished international guests, you are required to remain within your home for 72 hours. Starting Friday at 6 a.m. This is for security and discretion. Thank you for your cooperation. Sincerely, Margaret Hensley, HOA President." I laughed so hard I nearly dropped the letter. Required? Who do they think they are, the Secret Service? Ellen wasn't laughing. "Are we somehow in their HOA without knowing it?" she asked, folding her arms. "No way," I said. "I made sure of that when we signed the deed. Nobody's telling us what a plant or what color to paint our mailbox." Still, the letter's tone, its sheer arrogance, gnawed at me. I called the number listed at the bottom and got a voicemail that sounded like it was recorded in a country club lounge. I left a message, politely asking what gave them the right to order us around. 2 hours later, an email arrived with a glossy PDF attachment, a map. It showed Willow Creek's boundaries, and to my disbelief, our land was shaded in, like they'd annexed it without asking. Our driveway, our barn, our home all labeled as part of their security perimeter. Ellen peered over my shoulder at the laptop. "Can they do that?" she asked. "They can dream," I muttered. "We're still going to the lake Friday. Let them try to stop us." Friday morning dawned clear and cool. I was up at 5 o'clock, brewing coffee and packing a cooler for our family trip to Pine Hollow Lake. Ellen was corralling our grandkids, Mia and Ethan, who were visiting for the weekend. By 6:05, we were loaded into the pickup, ready for a day of fishing and burgers. I hit the garage door button, and as it rolled up, I saw it, a black SUV parked diagonally across our driveway. 2 men in dark green uniforms stood in front, their silver badge patches glinting in the morning light. "Willow Creek Estate Security Task Force," they read. Not cops, not even clothes, just hired muscle playing dress up. I rolled down my window. "Morning," I said, keeping my tone even. The taller one, a guy with a buzz cut and a clipboard, stepped forward. "Good morning, sir. You'll need to remain at your residence for the next 72 hours, per the notice." Ellen leaned across me. "Excuse me." Buzzcut didn't flinch. "This area is under restricted movement for sensitive visitors. We appreciate your compliance." "Appreciate all you want," I said, "but you're blocking my driveway. This is private property mine." The second guy moved toward Ellen's door, hand raised like he was directing traffic. "Ma'am, stay in the vehicle." That was a mistake. Mia and Ethan started shouting from the back seat, and Ellen bristled. "Don't you dare," she snapped. The guy reached for her door handle, and I was out of the truck in a heartbeat. Years of construction work and a few self-defense classes don't fade easily. I grabbed his wrist, twisted, and sent him stumbling onto the gravel. Buzzcut lunged, but I sidestepped and pushed him back with a hand to his chest. He tripped over his own feet and landed next to his buddy. "Stay down," I said, stepping back with my phone already recording. Ellen was on the phone with 911, her voice steady but furious. "We're calling the sheriff, and you're not moving until they get here." The guards stayed put, their confidence evaporating. The sheriff's deputy, a grizzled guy named Hargrove, arrived 20 minutes later. He listened to my side, watched the video, and squinted at the HOA's letter and map. "Look, Mr. Grayson," he said, "they've got some big shots coming in. It'd be easier if you stayed home this weekend." "Easier for who?" I shot back. "They tried to detain my wife on our land. This isn't their property, and I'm not their tenant." Hargrove sighed, clearly wishing he were anywhere else. I demanded a report, the guards' names, and an incident number. Ellen was already drafting complaints to the county and state. As the deputy spoke quietly to the guards, they backed off and drove away. We headed to the lake, but the pit in my stomach told me this was far from over. That evening, I sent everything letter, video, map to a friend, Dave, who's a zoning nerd with a knack for digging up dirt. He called me within hours, his voice grim. "They're messing with the land registry, Tom. Your property's listed as a tentative inclusion in their Phase 3 expansion. They're pitching it to investors like it's already theirs." I felt my blood pressure spike. "That's fraud," I said. Dave chuckled darkly. "Only if you catch them before the deal's done." The next day, things got weirder. A crumpled flyer appeared in our mailbox, accusing me of disrupting community values and endangering Willow Creek's prestige. Neighbors outside the HOA started getting similar letters, some even visited by security urging them to align with the community. Then came the drone. I was checking the coop when I heard it buzzing overhead, its camera trained on our property. I grabbed an old signal jammer from the shed and asked and brought the thing crashing into my cornfield. I bagged it and drove it to the sheriff's office, filing a report for illegal surveillance. By now, I knew this wasn't just about one weekend. I contacted a reporter, Lisa Harper, who'd covered local land disputes. Over coffee at a diner, I laid out the evidence. "They tried to quarantine you for a real estate show?" she asked, incredulous. "And listed your home as a demo for investors? This is gold." Her article, "When an HOA Plays Emperor," went live Monday, sparking outrage online. I posted my video, "They Think They Own My Land," with footage of the guards and drone. It hit 50,000 views in a day. Then a whistleblower reached out, an ex-HOA assistant named Sarah. She sent internal emails showing Margaret Hensley had orchestrated a compliance strategy to pressure non-HOA landowners into submission. My land was flagged as a visual liability for their investor pitch. One email from Margaret read, "Grayson's truck can't be seen during the tour. Make it happen." Sarah's evidence was dynamite, and I handed it to my lawyer, Diane Walsh, a no-nonsense property law expert known for crushing HOAs. Diane filed a cease and desist order and a class action lawsuit on behalf of me and 7 neighbors, charging Willow Creek with trespass, harassment, and fraud. The lawsuit cited the drone, the guards, and the fake maps. Meanwhile, Lisa's article went viral, and my videos kept gaining traction. A subreddit dedicated to HOA nightmares pinned my story. The county prosecutor subpoenaed Willow Creek's records, and Margaret was arrested on charges of fraud, coercion, and illegal surveillance. The HOA's board collapsed as members resigned en masse. In a final blow, a judge issued a permanent injunction barring Willow Creek from contacting non-members. Their Phase 3 permits were revoked, and the HOA was dissolved under state oversight. My land was officially exempted from any future HOA claims. I celebrated by building a steel fence with a sign, "Private property, not your HOA. Never will be." We hosted a barbecue for neighbors, a victory for freedom over petty tyranny. Ellen raised a glass, and I gave a short speech, thanking everyone for standing firm. Months later, I started a guide, Fighting Back Against HOA Overreach, to help others facing similar battles. My inbox overflowed with stories from across the country, fines for flagpoles, threats over garden gnomes. Willow Creek's collapse sent a message: no one owns your land but you. What do you think? Have you faced injustice or overreach in your own life? Did I go too far with those guards, or was it justified? Share your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your stand on violence, fairness, and fighting back. Let's keep this conversation going.